What's going on, guys? It's your boy Shane. Welcome back to a brand new video where today, guys, I'm here back with another care guide where today we are going to be covering the Jaguar cichlid, also known as the Parachromis menawense. Now, if that sounds interesting to you, let's jump right into the video. So what I would like to talk about first is their nature of origin. So Parachromis menawense, or the Jaguar cichlid, originated in Central America, more so in Costa Rica, in the lakes and rivers of Costa Rica. That's where you'll find them. But I like to say this information is irrelevant because trying to match the waters that Costa Rica has is kind of useless because these fish have been bred in captivity, obviously with the exception of wild-caught Jaguar cichlids. But a lot of these cichlids, and fish for that matter, have not really known what their country of origins waters are like because they're basically bred in your local breeders or people that mass produce for fish stores. They've just been bred there in basically the country that they're being made in waters, if that makes any sense. So like, for example, Canada, there's Jaguar cichlid breeders all the way in Canada that uses Canadian water parameters. So these fish never really knew what it's like to be there. So to be honest, it's irrelevant, but it's also a fun fact to know. Next up, let's take a look at their size. Now, don't let their size fool you. When they're in the fish store, you're going to find them like about this big, maybe an inch or two maximum. But these guys do grow. I'm going to be honest, they do grow a bit slow in the beginning, but after they hit 6 inches, they're going to sprout with growth, kind of like an Oscar where they start doing an inch per month, like Oscars. But realistically, like comparison to Delta right now, Delta only grows about, in the last 2 months, probably about an inch and a half, roughly, if I'm going to take my best guess. Because it does not look like that she's growing a lot compared to like Tigger, where I had him like this big and now he's like a lot bigger, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So they do grow a lot slower, but they definitely, after 6 inches, they definitely grow a lot faster. And these guys can get up to easily 14 to 16 inches, similar to an Oscar. But in the wild, typically with wild-caught jaguars, or even just in the wild in general, these guys can easily get up to 2 feet. But within captivity, you'll find a domestic Jaguar cichlid that's in that close to that range, realistically. So with that being said, they do need a proper tank size. I'd say for one Jaguar, I would say a 75-gallon bare minimum. And then obviously, if you can upgrade to the biggest size you have, that would be more than perfect for them. They will enjoy that. I mean, I have Delta in a 120 with a bunch of other cichlids. So just keep in mind that for 14 to 16 inch fish, you're definitely going to need something big. And a 75-gallon is something where they can live bare minimum very comfortably. But obviously, it would be more comfortable if they were like in a 100-gallon, 200-gallon tank. I'd say for their diet, they're very omnivorous, but at the same time, they show more so of a carnivorous side / heavy protein. So I definitely not forget about the vegetables, but definitely you don't have to focus on it too much because it's just a small part of their diet. Like, honestly, if you give them a cichlid pellet, that's what I do. I give them a general cichlid pellet. Sometimes if you want to cut up some shrimp, you can throw that in there. They'll enjoy it. You could also do some cut up tilapia. You could also do some worms, insects, stuff like that. They'll definitely enjoy it, more than happy to enjoy it. And don't be fooled by them, guys. They can eat a lot of things. Like, their jaws, this is why I call them like the smallmouth bass of Central America. Well, smallmouth, largemouth bass of Central America, because they have the tendency to unhinge their jaws as well to basically eat things that are, I wouldn't say half its size, but slightly bigger than it if it has to. So with that being said, with them eating so much, you also have to combat that with really good filtration. For a 75-gallon tank, I would say the same thing like I suggested in my Oscar video. If you have one Oscar, if you have one Jaguar cichlid in the tank as well, filtration wise, I would say do 2 canister filters, because honestly, you're gonna thank me later. Your water's gonna be nice and crystal clear. Or even if you really want to do it, if you really want to go all out, you can even do a sump, like a 10-gallon sump for that tank. That would be more than well, if you're comfortable with that type of thing, because I know sumps does mean drilling your tank half the time. Personality on these guys. Now, these guys, I'm going to be honest, the way how I have it set up in my tank is kind of perfect to combat the way Delta's aggression is, because these guys can be some of the meanest, toughest, most aggressive fish, not on the planet, but I've ever seen so far. As small as Delta is, she sometimes challenges the bigger fish. She even squares up to Sunshine, and it's like, well, even though you can easily get knocked out in 2 seconds, you still have a mean attitude for such a small fish. So realistically, their personality can fluctuate. Like, you can have a perfectly kind jaguar as a baby, and then after a certain size, it just turns into a menace, a demon, a monster in the tank. So even with that 120-gallon tank, for instance, just comparison, that tank, if Delta really wanted to, Delta could wipe out the whole tank, and I could just have Delta in that tank. That's why also it's kind of good to plan ahead, because realistically, there's some jaguars that could live in a 200-gallon tank without any tank mates, and that's just how they're going to live. It's all basically in the way they are. So that's why tank mates, which is the next thing that I'm going to talk about right now, that's a bit of an iffy topic, because tank mates, like, I would say put tank mates that are either bigger than it or can hold its own, which basically is the fish that I have in that tank. Oscars, even though they're South American, like I said, being bred in like captivity, it basically, they're being matched up with the same parameters, but similar parameters. But like I said, Oscars, Red Devils, Jack Dempseys, other jaguars. What are some other fish that are there? Gourami, the giant gourami, I mean, not the smaller gouramis. Asian arowana. Those fish can definitely combat a jaguar's aggression, no problem. They're really aggressive. Even some other family in the Parachromis field can combat another Parachromis, such as the Manoense or jaguar. So it really boils down to the tough fish that you have. If you have fish that can hold your own, you're perfect. But also have multiple fish in there if you're going to start that type of thing. Reason being is because if it's just a one-on-one fight all the time, that's where things get ugly, where they start having fights to the death. That's kind of why I situated the tank. Exactly why it is how it is. So, I mean, that's basically why I have the tank how it is, because when Delta gets bigger, she's not going to just pick on one fish. She's going to have a variety of fish to pick on. And it's not like the other fish are going to be like backing off. They're going to hold their own and basically tell Delta to back off when she needs to be told to back off, type of deal. All even helps it basically just with doing that kind of stuff, combating a jaguar cichlid's type of aggression and personality. But that's all I have for today on the Jaguar cichlid. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to punch that subscribe button. If you guys are new to join us in Pet Paradise, if you guys enjoyed, leave a thumbs up. Follow my social medias down below. Well, And honestly, I've been trying something out new. So with me putting myself in the corner of the full camera view and then putting, you know, these fish down, just showing you guys the fish. If you guys like that type of stuff, definitely let me know in the comments that you guys really like that, and I'll continue doing that whenever species care guides. And then whenever I'm not doing it, I'll just figure a way. But if you guys want to see more of the action and less of me, like in the corner or whatever, then let me know down in the comments below, and I will accommodate for that. We can continue this type of stuff. So yeah, that's all from me, guys, and I will see you guys in the next care guide or next video. Peace.